I feel like you can do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying?
I love to do anything.
I mean, I'm sure people are telling you their 2 cents.
Yeah. So it's something new. So I don't know that my fan would love it or not. Yeah. But the result is, I think they love it.
Boo, you whore.
The Blackpink girls are pursuing solo projects in America. Jisoo announced her global partnership with Warner. Rosé just released her album in December, while Lisa and Jennie are still dropping singles. But that's not the only thing they're dropping. As Lisa and Jennie further promote their music stateside, fans have noticed that they're also dropping their K-pop friendly image, which isn't surprising. The American pop industry is known for being very raunchy. To compete, Jennie and Lisa might feel the need to play the game by showing more skin. However, I think there's more to it than competition. These women have gone on record saying that they want the freedom to be more risqué, arguing that if it isn't hurting anyone, it shouldn't be a problem. But is that true? Their influence carries a lot of weight. Who knows what the implications of their actions can bring? While these women are grown and should have full autonomy, it's hard to argue for complete freedom of expression when their superstardom was crafted by the K-pop industry, a system they are still beholden to, including its moral codes and fan expectations. Furthermore, Jennie and Lisa's situation highlights a larger issue within K-pop. With mature idols being active and in high demand, we're seeing full-grown adults confined to a system built for tweens. K-pop needs an adult contemporary category. Now, a little disclaimer, I've been a casual Blackpink listener ever since they debuted in 2016.
Oh my god.
I've loosely followed their careers for a while now. Recently, criticisms about their new racy image has been popular. The first time I heard conversations about Jennie being too explicit was during her stint on HBO's The Idol. Although I never watched the show, from what I could gather, Jennie had a small role playing the friend to the lead, but people were upset with her skimpy costumes and her lewd dancing, along with an infamous exchange between her and The Weeknd, where she said this.
So, she a better fuck than me?
Maybe. Nobody's a better fuck than me.
That had people in a tizzy. I have to say, in my opinion, that little scene surprised me. I don't know if any American clean-cut pop star would even dare do a scene like that, much less an idol. Most of the time, the safe pop stars, quote-unquote safe pop stars, never explicitly talk about intimate activities. They'll heavily hint at it or use innuendos.
I just love shaking that ass. You're really good at shaking that ass. Been shaking that ass for hours.
So you know they'll never be caught on film speaking on it so crudely and so straightforward. Miss Ruby Jane was definitely pushing boundaries. Other moments where I remember conversations about the girls being too explicit was with Lisa during her infamous performances at the Crazy Horse Cabaret in Paris. I was shocked with the amount of backlash she got. Lisa did a few shows in Paris. Just from looking at the costumes, I could tell it was very adult. People were not having it, calling her all sorts of names. I mean, you'd think she was opening the gates of hell. The backlash was so immense that Weibo, a huge Chinese platform, banned Lisa off their site, and that greatly affected her presence in the Chinese market. Not only that, but I came across this trend of videos that people were making, quote unquote missing the old Lisa, where they would like make this collage or montage of photos of old Lisa, maybe 2019 to 2016 Lisa, and comparing it to the Lisa we have now, or like the more recent ones. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I think Lisa's getting the bigger brunt of the backlash when it comes to being too explicit.
I think it sounds fun to me and challenge.
From my point of view as an international casual listener of Blackpink, this didn't faze me. I've seen much worse with Americans in the American music scene. I mean, I wish the worst thing an American pop star would do is dance cabaret. Mind you, all these scandals happened back in 2023. In 2024, more controversies arose. Lisa performed in lingerie at the Victoria's Secret fashion show in October, and Jennie had a vaping scandal that happened over the summer. Lisa's xenophobic, colorist, futurist persecution aside, I can't recall any of the members getting this much heat at any point of their careers, and so frequently too. Lisa and Jennie aren't moving strategically like how the group was managed. In K-pop, there are clear no-nos, and if you're gonna do something risque, you have to know how to set up situations to get away with grace. I'm not saying any high-level maneuvering on Jennie's or Lisa's end.
No, not at all.
It could be because they're managing themselves for their solo activities in the US, with Jennie creating Odd Atelier and Lisa creating her team with Loud. Managing themselves gives them more freedom that they've always wanted, but since they are still under YG for group activities, they have one foot in the American industry and one foot in the K-pop industry. They still must adhere to K-pop moral standards to some degree. Harper's Bazaar did an interview with Jennie where they explained a K-pop idol's moral responsibility pretty well. Quote, "It's impossible to understand Jennie without understanding K-pop, the 10 billion a year industry, so vital to South Korea's national identity that the government has funded the development and the global marketing of the industry for decades. The idols in turn act as cultural ambassadors of the Korean lifestyle and demeanor. Their positive representation of the country is as crucial as the fandom or music itself. Personal goings-ons are secretive and private, as intensely guarded as crown jewels. Romantic relationships and smoking are not allowed, partially because they're a distraction, partially because they might impede on a fan's ability to relate." End quote.
Hello. It's like, is it real?
This is among one of many reasons why I don't see idols as the equivalent to Western pop stars. With idols, the stakes are high. When they mess up, they could be defacing a whole nation. So to a certain extent, I can see why people are super harsh with idols being too provocative, but what is considered provocative is a point of contention amongst international and domestic fans. I usually yield to the domestic fans in this regard because they are the most impacted in this arena. Jennie and Lisa entertaining in their skivvies doesn't affect me one bit. They're just another cog in the machine, but to some Korean fans, I can see them being more critical, as they feel like their idols are a cultural representation of themselves. It's having their likeness shown in a bad light, and it could potentially negatively affect their youth, which made me think of a few things. When does something become lecherous versus sensual? And what are the implications of said actions? In South Korea, modesty and a clean-cut image are encouraged, something that might be seen as tame in America. Their music scene is more sensual as opposed to being raunchy. Sensual often involves subtlety and suggestion, while raunchiness can be more explicit and direct.
Yeah, that's been the case.
The typical stage uniform for a female idol is either mini dresses, mini skirts, safety shorts, micro shorts, and these bottoms are usually paired with tops that usually cover the bust area completely. Their dances, generally speaking, mostly emphasize on synchronization. It's very chill, very feminine. Maybe there's some hip shaking or body rolling. Although twerking influences are becoming more normalized, they still don't do too much. The men can wear wherever they want. I mean, it really isn't fair. As long as they have bottoms on, whatever. All this seems to be as sensual as it gets. Anything more than that is considered lewd, but don't get it twisted, K-pop has this nasty side too. Idols like Jessie, Hyuna, Kiss of Life, and honorary mention Hwasa can be very explicit, and it gets raunchier than that.
It's like, oh, okay.
People definitely have negative opinions on these women, but for the most part, people let them be. Since they've made their image right up front, they don't switch up doing the good girl gone bad thing. So they're prime examples of idols that don't follow the clean-cut image, but at the same time, these acts aren't being pushed the same way idols like Jennie and Lisa are, so they don't have the pressure to maintain a clean image. Korea isn't promoting these people on the global stage. They don't want these people representing them on an international level. So with Jennie and Lisa, their huge profiles together with their brand switch-ups are a huge factor as to why fans have issues with their new image. More so, I want to add Jennie and Lisa are the first of their kind in the American market. If they're going down this adult route, I wonder what precedent would be set for other Asian female artists or other K-pop idols wanting to break into the American market, because the industry will just take advantage of anyone. They'll just look at Jennie and Lisa's success and probably say to the next female idol, this is what you have to do to be successful. Hey, maybe that's what they told Jennie and Lisa.
And which we all understand, so
all of this makes me think how much of this new image is about freedom and how much of it is about competing in the US market. Jennie and Lisa have both been on the record vocalizing wanting to have an adult image. I mean, Lisa was over in France already doing mature styles of entertainment, although I still can't shake the feeling that maybe they're already being taken advantage of. And it's not just them. Nayoung from Twice, who also has a solo deal with the American label, I think Republic, she has also become more risqué in her visuals. There was little controversy over her suggestive dance break in her ABCD music video this past June. Yeah, so a lot's happening. I'd describe myself as a semi-conservative pop fan. I don't like any dances that show your full kitty cat, full frontal or back frontal. A half twerk will do, and I don't mind full legs showing as long as the back is fully covered. I also would prefer full cleavage or half the cleavage being covered. Okay, so you're showing me under boob, please cover that top half. If you're showing me top half, please cover up the under boob. Okay, I don't want any string action going on. Anyways, all the idols I listed off, I don't think I don't consider them lewd. Well, some of them I don't. But I do understand the fear of things becoming excessive. For example, one day you're on stage dancing in shorts, the next day it's a leotard, until finally people are going all out in thongs, which has happened in the American music scene in the span of 20 years. Things have gotten so explicit I can see people's holes on stage. They're holes.
And I'm like,
Like, there's absolutely no reason for that. So when other people criticize Lisa for her outfits at the Victoria's Secret fashion show or what Jennie wore at the Chanel event, in my opinion, I think people are worried about where it could lead to. It's a slippery slope because when there's a female pop star in skimpy clothes, quote unquote, owning her sexuality, speaking about quote unquote female empowerment, yet there's no regulations on how to respect these female bodies and how to not objectify them whilst being in a misogynistic society, it just spells trouble.
What? Listen.
I feel like I'm like sitting here like just screaming the whole time.
First off, long-term hypersexualization in pop culture has a slew of negative effects on society. People can develop negative body issues with how they value themselves, what they think their bodies are worth. I mean, how many female rappers were advertising using their bodies to get a bag? Nah, just get a job. Seriously. All of these feeds into the objectification of the female form, making girls think that their value relies in their physical appearances. That's just one of many issues it can cause. And I'm talking about the men as well as the women pop stars participating in explicit activity. Some of these male entertainers need to get checked too. Those who objectify women in their lyrics and videos, along with those male pop stars who also overdo it with the images they push. All of this promotes terrible gender dynamics and encourages no intimacy or care between sexes. I know this video is about Jennie and Lisa, but there's a larger conversation to be had with society, along with said pop stars in the industry. All of us has a responsibility to regulate this kind of stuff. We can't dump all responsibilities on the female pop stars.
it's really
Hitting
hard.
marks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm so bad at
Who's inviting these entertainers to schools? Who's letting these kids listen to that type of music? And why are these award shows allowing vulgar performances? Furthermore, I want to stress that I believe these artists have the right to express themselves in whatever way they want, but I also believe that the public has the right to voice their opinion on how these pop stars choose to express themselves. The public has the right to say, I don't like this, I don't think so and so is appropriate. Now, name calling and insulting people is a different story. It's a cultural exchange. That's all I'm trying to say. Idols and pop stars aren't force feeding us. The fans and people have a voice too. But basically, as a society, we need to dictate strict boundaries on what's appropriate because right now, America is a cesspool. So I can understand K-pop fans being weary of their idols being too westernized.
Yeah, they're gonna start getting used to that maybe.
It's funny, one of the reasons why I liked K-pop was because I thought it was modest compared to the American music industry. Although K-pop still has its issues, don't get me wrong, I knew I could rely on K-pop for clean entertainment. So I think right now in K-pop, I think they're just trying to strike the right balance between artistic expression of the idol and cultural values. Jennie and Lisa are around 30. You can argue they should have the freedom to express themselves however way they please. But since K-pop played a significant role in making them superstars, it's understandable that they still need to accommodate that industry. They owe their massive fan base to K-pop, but how accommodating they should be, I really don't know. I mean, they've spent half of their lives adhering to the strict, often ambiguous rules of K-pop. For instance, why was it acceptable for Blackpink to incorporate suggestive hip-hop dance moves, just booty popping everywhere? Why was it okay for Lisa to have pole dancing sets during performances? All this being very frisky, mind you, but do those same moves with less clothes, it's a problem. Maybe that's the major issue, having less clothes, because Rosé has been promoting a very mature image too. Her first song was about a drinking game that has some innuendos about meeting up at your boo's apartment. Okay, Rosé was on Paper Mag, photographed with cigars. In the Toxic to the End music video, we see her in her undies with her love interest, you know, implicating a very adult activity.
and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I've heard no criticism about her, so is it the lack of clothing? Y'all let me know, seriously. No matter how they did it, Jennie and Lisa would still get flack over their adult image because of their high profile. Had they gone independent with their projects displaying the same aesthetic, it still would have been a problem. Their best route would have been to cut ties with any K-pop Korean company completely and do their own thing. That way they wouldn't be expected to adhere to strict moral K-pop codes. They'll still get flack, but I don't think it would be as intense as it is now. And they'd have a legitimate reason to carry on like they've been doing. Because having one foot in the K-pop industry and another in America, I think they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. They gotta land one way or the other. I think right now K-pop fans, particularly the Korean ones, are trying to create a new standard on what is acceptable or not. I mean, they created these idols. After all, they're the backbones of the idol system, and they are where the money resides. Without their infrastructure, none of these idols would reach the audience that they have. If they don't want the idols who rep them on a national level to show themselves in this way, they have a right to an opinion, maybe to even some demands. I don't know. But I will say there's a lot of nasty language and behavior in how some of these fans choose to voice their thoughts on these female idols, so there's a lot of sexism happening. All of this brought me to this thought. K-pop needs an adult contemporary category. Now more than ever, there are older idol groups pushing 30 and over who are still in demand, and they're operating in a system designed to target kids. How much maturity can you show in a system like that? In the past, the lifespan of an idol was way shorter. Idols entering their late 20s and older wasn't the norm. So in the past, they'd cycle out idols around their mid-20s and start fresh with new people, still targeting tweens and teens. But what happens when the fandom gets older and craves something more adult? How would you promote that idol, that mature idol, in this kid-friendly system? There needs to be adult platforms to promote mature idols along with their mature concepts. In America, we have adult categories for every genre and platforms to promote them. Pop has adult contemporary, which encompasses loads of different genres. There's adult R&B, airplay, all that stuff. Country music is generally older. It's, mainly adult. Then there's the Grammys, that's geared towards a mature audience. CMAs, People Choice Awards, Soul Train, Black Honors Awards. For the kids, there's the KCAs, TCAs. For everyone in between, there's the BMAs, the AMAs, the PCAs, the VMAs, the BTs, all that good stuff. K-pop needs to expand to accommodate an older audience and older acts. In conclusion, I think we all can come from a place of understanding. Domestic fans understand that Jennie and Lisa want to exercise some adult freedom. These girls have spent their careers accommodating their fan base. I think they deserve some understanding at the very least. It was all fun and games when they were booty popping in Blackpink. Don't switch up on them now. We should have constructive criticism and respectful dialogue about this whole thing. I think that's one method that'll lead to common ground. It's also a good idea to expand the idol industry, adapting to mature fans and idols, where they can promote and be on platforms specifically for them to make content, all that stuff. And people, remember, you always have a choice. If you can't tolerate what Lisa and Jennie are doing, you can always leave, but don't sit around and trouble them. Actions speak louder than words. As always, thank you for your time. Please comment, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Goodbye.